future is, but it'll never be our past. You can distance in your world, you'll never ever change the past. Yeah,
Hey everybody, it's Fight Club Hubs. Welcome to another episode of GVN Live. As always, I am joined by Jan and Mark. Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
All right. So a bit of a slow news week we just had recently. So we pretty much had to cherry pick some stuff that we found interesting. We have an interesting couple of topics for you tonight. We're going to be talking about the line of 1UP arcades. Just recently, the Ninja Turtles arcade went open for pre-order and immediately sold out twice. We're going to be talking a bit about that and the history of the line as well. We're also going to be talking about some sexual assault allegations against gaming industry icons. It seems like there's something going on every other week in the gaming industry now in regards to stuff like this, don't you think? I mean, there's assholes everywhere, but it just seems like now there's a lot of it going on in the game industry. A lot more than usual.
It's kind of it's definitely a thing I wish would stop happening, but by the same token, it's also very much a thing that, like gaming really hasn't had a big come to Jesus moment with that. At least not nearly as much as, other mediums have. So, I would prefer that we get this out there and that we start dealing with it sooner rather than later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the last topic of the night is, how many games are we going to be buying by the end of the year, and how broke are we going to be? That's pretty much the gist of it, because Jesus Christ, they had a lot of great games come out in the summer, which is probably one of the most active summers we've had in recent years in regards to, big titles coming out. I mean, just in this week alone, today, Metal Wolf Chaos just came out, a physical release, even though it came out digitally 2 weeks ago. My copy of Collection of Mana just got shipped from Best Buy, so I'm waiting for that to come. Also that came out during the summer, and we started it off with, the release of Elder Scrolls expansion Elsewhere. We had Dragon Quest Builders and so many other stuff, and it's just now we're looking towards September to December and how broke our asses are going to be. But before we get into our topics, let's go around the room. Jan, how have you been? What have you been up to, and what's coming up?
Oh, goodness. I'm okay. I'm just one day at a time. I've got I've been bouncing a lot of jobs recently just because of inability for people to actually help to accommodate for some specific issues. And so I have found a work from home position that's actually going to be A, daytime hours, and B, is going to be hell of a lot more comfortable for me. So I'm not actually going to have those problems anymore, which I guess is going to be good. So
that's good.
That's a positive.
Yay.
Plus it's better money, so it's whatever. The gosh, I don't know. What am I even doing? Mostly 14 and Tekken. That's pretty much it. I don't have a lot else going on right now.
Hey Rob.
It'll change soon, because there's a lot of crap and we'll talk about it later, but man, I'll tell you what, the rest of this year is gonna absolutely just murder my wallet. I don't even want to think about it. But we'll touch on that later for sure.
And anything going on in the future? Return to streams.
Yes, I had a return stream on Thursday, and I will probably do a couple more, probably tomorrow, and definitely over the weekend. The Iceborne preview beta is this weekend. So I will definitely be dicking around on that on PS4. So that'll be fun.
Sweet. Mark, same 3 questions to you, sir. How are you, what you've been doing, and what's going on?
I am fine, for the most part. I've been having some mild anxiety issues that are coming up here and there, but I'm dealing with it, taking it one day at a time. What's been going on? Not really anything that I can think of. I've just been kind of here. And like, what have I got coming up? I mean, I'm just streaming. Trying to get back into the habit of doing it Friday and Saturday. Friday, we're still pretty consistently streaming.
You've been working on what, Alpha Protocol?
Alpha Protocol, yeah,
No.
on Fridays, and then Saturdays is just kind of whatever I feel like playing at the moment. Really,
I'm surprised you haven't picked up the new Robot Wars yet.
I haven't finished the other one,
Robot Wars.
Super Robot Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because
I stopped in the middle of it when I started having really bad anxiety problems, and I don't want to go back to it.
Fair.
Like, it's not a bad game. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's just like when you take a couple of months off from a game and then you come back to it, you're like, fuck, I don't want to play this anymore. You know, and it's kind of there.
Mhm.
And
It
so, like, I've been
happens.
trying to find, like, smaller story-based games to play through to get myself back into the habit of streaming before I start considering the possibility of, hey, let's, maybe try to bring that back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, like, especially with RPGs, if you take a really, really long break and you come back in and you're just like, fuck, what was I doing?
Oh, no, I know what I'm doing in it. Like, I can remember that part of it, at least. It's just, like, I just don't want to play it. It's the simplest way I can. It's just mechanically, I'm just like, I played so much of it, it's just like, and it's such a long game, I was like, ugh, fuck.
But for me, like, if I take long periods of time and I come back to a game, I instantly go into that Gandalf meme. I have no memory of this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened with me and the most recent Shining. Was it Resonance Refrain on PC? Like,
I haven't gone back to that.
I started it. I got up to I think I met the second person for the party, and then like I stopped and I haven't gone back to it. I'm like, I really want to finish it because I really enjoy it, but then at the same time I'm like, I kind of want to start over and actually do like the extended version, but it's like, whatever.
I've started
I
playing
have way too many other games.
I've got one too many old games as well. As for me, what I'm doing is I'm doing fine. Nobody cares though. I am still steadily streaming Monster Hunter. I've been doing a lot of Monster Hunter World lately because I'm getting back into it. It seems like I found a more consistent group to play with on the Xbox version as opposed to all my friends that claim to play the PlayStation version. Yeah, and the PC version. I'm just really hyped for Monster Hunter World Iceborne coming out next week.
2 weeks.
End of next 2 weeks. Thought it came
It's
out
the
the 6th.
Yeah, it comes out on the 6th. It's a week and a half, basically.
Okay, yeah, week and a half. Okay, I kind of lost track of where we were in the week now. All of a sudden. But speaking of which, some things are going to be changing for my stream schedule. I will keep Monday Night Monster Hunter, of course. I'll keep doing my alternating GVN live and whatever stream. Once the next couple of shows happen. And then I'm going to have to move Wednesdays because, god damn it, if I love NXT, I love AEW, and the fact that they're both going to be on Wednesdays means I cannot afford to stream on that night now.
Fair.
I mean, it's just, DVR, motherfucker.
I can DVR.
There you go.
I think I can DVR both shows at the same time, but my wife also watches TV on Wednesday nights. I think one of the Law and Order SVU, I think, is on a Wednesday night.
Who's your provider?
Verizon.
Oh, that would be why.
And I only have one DVR box, so because I have a computer upstairs and I watch whatever the hell I want on it.
There you go.
So, but I would probably watch one of them live. I'll DVR the other, and the wife is watching TV or whatever her shows are on Wednesday nights. I haven't figured out what I would move my Wednesday night stream to. I'll probably look into it at some point in the future. Maybe do a Sunday night stream. Outside of that, I am definitely going to be working towards making my next game adaptations review soon. I would like to really vent about It Came from the Desert because the more I keep thinking about this film that I really don't want to see, because it was a film that I really wanted to see, and then as time went on,
Oh,
like my heart sank deeper into the abyss with every like new shred of information that came out about it up until its DVD release. So I can talk about that a bit later, like when I make the video. Like I'll go into my history of thoughts of the game and all that, and the movie. But let's go ahead and get things started. So moving on, topic number 1. So as I mentioned earlier, 1UP and Walmart put the pre-order for the Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet live on Walmart.com, exclusively on Walmart. Sold out within minutes. A few hours
guess that
later,
doesn't shock
it
me.
went back up again. Sold out within minutes.
jeez.
This is probably outside of a bunch of other like arcade cabinets that they have released this year, like the Mortal Kombat cabinet and the upcoming Star Wars arcade cabinet that they are going to have either beginning of next year or end of this year, as well as the Marvel Superheroes cabinet. TMNT is easily the most anticipated release by 1UP today. Now, that is very surprising because I didn't think they would make it past their first year of releasing these cabs, to be truthfully honest. I mean, they released a series of like Atari-themed and like retro-themed or early 80s retro-themed arcade cabinets revolving around, using trackball for like, the golf game, some golf games, the dial for Tempest, and using some very suspect like arcade parts for some of the classic games like Pac-Man or Dig Dug or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've seen numerous like complaints about how stiff the arcade parts were, how unresponsive or over-responsive the dial was in regards to games like Tempest, and sometimes how inaccurate like the sliding motion of the ball was, the trackball was for some of the golf games, or I don't even know what. There's only maybe 2 games that I know that use the trackball in the arcades. One was, of course, there's the Power Golf game. There was like 3 of them that released in the arcade, and then there was the very rare Sonic arcade game. Those are the only ones that I know that use the trackball.
Arkanoid.
Arkanoid use a trackball? I thought it used a slider.
trackball.
I thought it used the dial.
I've seen an Arkanoid. I have personally played an Arkanoid cabinet with a trackball on it.
Okay. Well, yeah, so outside of this, and I was really suspect about also how when I was watching people play, and I've even checked out the arcades, like if you go to your local Walmart or whatever, you will see like the whole kiosk set up there. They are insanely wobbly. And that's even with, I don't think they had the 1-foot riser that, adds, because these are like 3-foot arcade cabinets. So you're going to need a chair to sit on them. You're going to kill your back. I mean, you're what? You said, how tall did you say you were, Jan? Like 6'8"?
I'm 6'8", but yeah, like those cabs are 4 foot at the max. Like they're not very
with the
tall.
riser.
Right, no, they're not built for tall people, but they're also built for nostalgia. They're built for smaller spaces.
Yeah.
They expect you to have chairs to be sitting at these cabinets.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it's not unreasonable to think that even though they're small, that they're not still going to be used regularly. I know plenty of people that bought these cabinets that have these cabinets that are, they sit and they play them because it's the right height for doing that. And I think that's a big reason why they did it. Even if you get like a small stool, it's really not that big of a deal. The only issue is that even though they may not be tall, they're not very big width-wise. And I think that's the bigger issue, is that their original cabinets were very, very small when it came to the width, not so much the height. That was really the main problem.
Yeah,
which,
and
thankfully they fixed with the more recent releases, but still.
I mean, yeah, it seems very tight, especially when I checked out the Street Fighter 2 kiosk that they had there, and it's like you're almost bumping shoulders in regards to playing that game. Now, I don't know how it's going to be because Ninja Turtles is 4 players. It is pretty wide, but I don't know if it's wide enough to accommodate for that. Now, looking into the history, they have released, a bunch of these over the years, and I'm surprised by how many that they've had. I mean, they announced, I think it was E3, was it E3 or was it a Comic-Con or Comic-Con? where they unveiled Marvel superheroes, and then they showed off the Turtles arcade cabinet, and then they also had that's where they unveiled the Star Wars arcade cab with the cockpit helm controls, which actually is kind of like which mimics the original, which is pretty good. I haven't heard much in terms of reviews of that, so I'm going to be looking for them when I get a chance.
For sure.
One of the things I hear a lot of complaints about, I've read a lot of complaints about, is the price point of these things. Now, I'm not going to say... they are currently, depending on how old the system is, it's between $250 to $400, with or without the riser. It's about a $50 difference. Turtles comes with the riser. It's $400. It is the most expensive out of all the arcade, one-up arcade things right now. And people are bitching about it, saying it's way too much money. Although, even though it's selling out instantly. So either some people are finding that to be an acceptable price, or some people are just bitching that they can't afford it because, I don't know, they work at McDonald's or something. Do you think these people really have the right to be complaining about something like this, Mark?
I don't really know what the quality point is of the devices. I haven't played one. I haven't owned one. Like, I've always seen them, and I've always thought, maybe I would consider getting something like that. To be perfectly honest, it would purely be for the novelty factor of it, because if I was going to play something like that, I would probably just set up a Raspberry Pi and do it on my TV.
Yeah.
I don't see the need to take up the physical space of having an arcade cabinet unless it's the actual arcade cabinet. But I don't know what the quality level is of these things. I see that they generally rank it around the 4-star review rating on Walmart's website, so I have to assume that the quality level is fine for some people, and I would have to assume that they hold up well enough. Because, I mean, if the control mechanics, if the joysticks, if the buttons didn't hold up well at all, I don't think they would have survived to this point. I think there would be a lot more people up in arms about what a piece of shit this product is. I was just trying to figure out, from what it is, from what's being provided, would $400 be a good price point? And it's kind of sort of a case of you're sort of asking the question of would I pay $400 for this versus is it worth it as a novelty thing? Would I personally pay $400 for that? No, absolutely fucking not. I would, if I had the kind of disposable income to be buying arcade machines again, I would want one actual arcade machine that you would get for the real actual arcade, not a mock-up novelty piece. Or I would want to get one that's the countertop deals they have. I wouldn't want a freestanding one that's 4 feet tall that I would have to either sit in front of or hunch down to play.
Sure.
And especially not one that's going to have 2 games in it, 3 games in it. That's for me personally, from a novelty perspective, it's not worth it. I don't see the benefit in owning something like that, where it's just a showpiece. It's just a thing to say, I have this arcade cabinet, and whatever. If that's what you want to do, I'm not saying you're wrong for doing it. If you want to spend your money on that, absolutely, that's your business. I just personally don't see that as being a thing I want to do.
Yeah.
But is it worth $400 in general? Probably. Because, keep in mind, if you wanted to get an actual arcade cabinet, you would probably be dropping a couple $1,000s.
Oh, if not more.
Yeah, and it would have a game in it. These things are not comparable to an actual arcade cabinet, fucking obviously, but they are kind of sort of an affordable-ish arcade cabinet for people who want the physicality of the arcade without necessarily dropping multiple thousands of dollars on a fucking arcade machine.
Right.
And
by the way, Mark, real quick, I just want to cut in. The average price on eBay for a Ninja Turtles arcade cab is currently going for about $2,500.
2,500. Yeah.
Yep.
So $400 for a scaled down cabinet that has both of the Ninja Turtles games in it, or $2,500 for an actual arcade cabinet that has one, and then you have to multiply that by 2 because you want to get both of the games.
Right.
And then let's also
$400
talk about the fact that monitor is not going to last forever.
No, CRT monitors are pieces of shit. CRTs in general, like CRTs will last a while, but like replacing something like that is going to be a nightmare. You're probably going to end up in the position where you're going to have to figure out how to set that up with an LED or an LCD display, which would be a nightmare in and of itself. It's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, no, I don't really think that like $300-400 is an unreasonable amount of money to ask. Again, personally, I wouldn't spend it, but I think that is a completely reasonable amount of money relative to what you are asking for and what they are providing, because they're providing an arcade cabinet with, I'm assuming that it's got some type of LED monitor or LCD monitor in the box as well. So you're talking licensing fees, you're talking key art for the sides, the front, the back, the whole bit. There's definitely a couple $100 worth of equipment there.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, if you wanted a $50 arcade cabinet, like, okay, you know, they're gonna like fucking put an Etch-a-Sketch on the front of it and like tape some fucking hand-drawn pictures from DeviantArt on the side of the fucking box, and there you go, there's your $50 Ninja Turtles cabinet. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I get that people would probably want it to be more affordable, but just don't, like, that's a point where it's like, you don't need an arcade cabinet at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be expense that goes into making this kind of thing. I'm sure they're making a profit. They fucking have to be to continue making these things, but I'm absolutely positive that there's, you know, $100 or so, $200 worth of labor and materials and shit like that involved in the process of making these things. So it's not a case of they're grotesquely overcharging for it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think they're asking an unreasonable price. I mean, again, $2,500 for a single game, $400 for 2. And then you look at some of the other arcade cabs, which have anywhere between 3 to 6 games for $250 to $300.
Yeah, the only thing that's really frustrating about this is that, again, it's like 2 games for $400. Like, to a certain extent, that's whoever the license holder is, Nickelodeon, I guess, at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, putting on the Nickelodeon tax.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like Konami wouldn't have done the same thing when they were the game license holder, to be sure. But it's just the principle of, you can tell the difference between when something is a licensed property versus when it isn't.
Okay. And Jen, how do you feel about the price point? And is this something that may someday be in your home, or would any of the one-up arcade cabs be in your home?
See, okay, so I have a bit of a. All right, so long story short, I'm too into fighting games to not think about the logistics side of where the price point is. So this is my stick. All right.
Thank you for showing us your stick, Jan.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so this put together as a baseline with the PCB, the buttons, the stick, you know, the wiring, all of this set me back about, well, it was discount because I had a friend make it for me, but the baseline is most arcade sticks run about $200, $250 for everything, and that's generally not a hardwood case. Most hardwood devices like that run maybe closer to $300 or $400, purely just depending on the type of wood and the amount of, you know, intricacy that goes into building that arcade stick. As a baseline, $400 for basically a 2-player arcade stick with an attached monitor and a Raspberry Pi that has these games on it that are licensed and legal, $400 is kind of like what I would expect that price point to be, just as a baseline. Do I think it's the best price for it? Probably not, because I'm pretty sure somebody could probably put that together for about half the cost. But considering the fact that they're using all Sanwa parts, so the parts are built to last. They're using lagless monitors, so it's built to last. They're putting quality pieces and products into these builds now where they weren't before because A, they've got the licensing money, and B, people are buying these systems. Obviously, it's proven. They put them up twice. They sold out instantly. It's like people are buying these devices. It's a matter of nostalgia versus home build. Like, am I really going to take the time to build my own cabinet to put 4 devices and make, a full-sized, Ninja Turtle arcade device that's got multiple player games that I could put, you could think of probably at least 2 or 3 other 4-player arcade style beat 'em ups that you could put on that cab all at the same time.
X-Men.
So, X-Men, Simpsons. Yeah. So that's obviously a thing too. So yeah, these kinds of machines, these kinds of devices have the ability to be, multi-purpose. That's not to say that people probably haven't bought the smaller cabinets to put other games on it or to put their own things in it. But having a cabinet that's already been created that's got a 4-player stick on it with relatively decent parts from a reputable manufacturer, yeah, I think that would be worthwhile. $400 probably not, but again, it's something that makes sense to, hey, this is a thing that works. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you get something like that going, and it's not awful. But if you get it and it's 2 games, I don't know. That tends to be a little bit more. It's a little bit bulkier for me, and I feel like having the ability to update the cabinet myself later on would be worth that price point.
Now, would you say, in regards to the price point of a $400 arcade cabinet, would you also be more likely to lean towards something like, are you familiar with the extensions arcade cabinets and arcade sticks? From Rec Room Masters, if they sound familiar to you? The people who practically make really huge, elaborate, or regular arcade cabinets for your home use, where you can hook up your own monitor and a computer with a main box or whatever.
If the Capcom stick is any indication of what we could possibly do, having the ability to make a stick that's like that, instead of putting all of that into one giant 2-player stick, you could put that into one stick and reduce the price, have the flash media inside the device with a USB port or some sort of daisy chain ability where you could actually daisy chain multiple controllers together, have the space that you want, and be able to play those on your own television. I don't feel like that's that far-fetched. I think that can exist. It probably does exist. I just don't know why people haven't thought of it earlier. Logistically, it may not be feasible, just because you'd have to spend the same amount of money as everyone else to actually get to that point. But it would make a lot of sense that you could, in fact, do something like that and have, like I said, like with the Capcom stick, having the ability to have that USB port on there means that it could be daisy-chained, or you could link off of that device to have multiple sticks that are single-player sticks and be able to have all of those games on any monitor you want, instead of having to worry about putting it into a nostalgia cabinet like they do with the 1-Up arcades. It's feasible. It's possible. Is it logistics? Maybe? I don't know. I feel like it could be done. It's just a matter of making sure that you have, I guess, space at that point.
Okay. Before we end the topic and move on to our next conversation piece, Mark and Jan, if you want a specific set of games to come out from a 1-Up arcade cab, what would you want? And would you definitely buy it if it were to happen?
I probably wouldn't buy it personally, just because, like I said, again, it's $200, $300, $400 for something that I could play in other fashions. You know what I'm saying? I can't personally think of anything that would inspire me to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I mean, granted, yeah, we all have access to. I hope you're not doing it, but we all have access to ROMs and emulators. I mean, thanks to games like Final Burn Alpha and MAME and other programs. What about you, Jan? Is there maybe a couple of games that you'd like to have on an arcade cabinet from One Up Arcade?
See, my biggest issue is that, like, as much as I like the nostalgia of actually having an arcade cabinet, like, I would prefer just give me something that's, simpler. Like, if I can put something together and just use my own equipment, then that would be much more what I'd be looking for. I'm too much of a beat 'em up fan and like a shoot 'em up fan that, like, if unless they were to like release like some sort of like crazy like Gradius collection or like an R-Type collection or something like that, maybe I'd think about it. But like, or even like a Darius or something like that. Like, just have something where you've got enough games to make the price point for an actual cabinet worthwhile. Like 2 or 3 games on a cabinet that are older games that are readily available through multiple home platforms, like, it's just not worth it. But if you put something that's like pure arcade and like you just aren't going to see it or hasn't been released, or like if there was an actual arcade build for the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, that would be a worthwhile purchase because you have enough games on that for it to actually be worthwhile to actually have hardware for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if there were a lot of games in the collection, I could probably consider it. Because if it's like 2 games, that's the other thing, is that you're going to get bored of it quickly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's
purely it's just a talking piece at that point. It doesn't make
even for a fighting game, like, it's how many times you're going to have people over to play Street Fighter 2 at your arcade cabinet in your house. Like,
at that point, I just spend the $1,300 or $1,400, get a Nesca Live cabinet, and just download all of the current games. So there's like 8 games that are currently available for Nesca Live right now.
Right.
Like,
it's
they're all new. So like you've got Cross Tag Battle, Samurai Showdown. Like, that's a no-brainer. I would definitely spend the money for my own Nesca Live cabinet and just play that. Like, there would be no reason not to.
Like even if I was going to do something where I wanted to have like a proper arcade cabinet, even if it wasn't like that, like, just fucking get a Neo Geo.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're not cheap, but they're not multiple thousands of dollars.
I mean, you can literally buy all the cartridges. I mean, the cartridges for the Neo Geo arcade setup is a hell of a lot cheaper than the Neo Geo console.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends.
I mean, that's why I know a lot of people who I was friends with, or I am friends with. They own the arcade board and a super gun because it's just so much easier to buy those giant ass cartridges, and you can spend like $50 to $100 for a cartridge, or for like a copy of Garou, the Japanese version, or you can go buy the console version for about $500 to $600.
Again, but like that all harkens back to the same concept. Like, if the game is readily available on a home market device, like, having a nostalgia cabinet at that point is moot. It just is. But if we're talking games that are less popular or more rare, I guess is the right terminology for it, then it makes a lot more sense to have a nostalgia cabinet for something, or to have physical hardware for those types of games. Like, if we're talking like we're going to release a Gradius collection and it's got like all of the Gradius games, or like we're releasing a shoot 'em up bundle and it's got like 9 games on it and it's only $300, that's when it becomes feasible. That's when it becomes, hey, look, like, this is a worthwhile purchase, because at that point you've hit a price point that makes logical sense for the game content, and B, like, you've reached a point where having the ability to play multiple games in a franchise, or multiple franchises at that point on a single device, you've created, a much more entertaining centerpiece versus something that's only got 1 or 2 games on it.
All right. Well, I mean that's pretty much it. I would like to personally own the Turtles arcade cabinet. Will I be able to get one? I don't know. I mean, it could be as simple as walking into the store. Maybe I have to get lucky and pre-order one online. If that's the case, probably won't be able to get a hold of one until maybe next year at best. But enough of that. Moving on, let's talk about something that's not so nice. Mark, I'll let you have the floor, sir.
So today has really been
Hmm.
a terrible fucking day for sex abuse stuff. So the start of the day sort of brought two different conversations to the forefront. The first of those conversations that came up was actually they said it was last night, so I guess I just saw it today. A blog post from a content creator, Nathalie Lawhead, who is a game developer, an award-winning game developer, and they published a big blog post titled "Calling Out My Rapist," which was a piece essentially detailing the incredibly horrible actions that they have stated Jeremy Soleil, I don't know how
Jeremy
to
Soul.
pronounce it. Jeremy Soul had perpetrated against them. Now, Jeremy Soul is a soundtrack creator for the Elder Scrolls series, or I should probably say was. I don't think he's going to be one anymore. But so that was where we started this situation. Then, after that happened, this motivated Zoe Quinn, who has come up in conversation previously, game developer, writer, etc., to announce that she had been basically abused to fucking back by her now, I guess, ex-boyfriend. I don't 100%. I didn't 100% get what their relationship was, but I'm guessing they were dating. Eric Hololka. I don't fucking know how to pronounce that last name, and frankly, with as many people as have come forward and said that he's a piece of shit, no, he can eat a dick. Fuck him. But yeah, he was a big deal in the independent scene, most notable for having been directly involved in the development of Night in the Woods, which is a game a lot of people love and think is great, and
It's
this
pretty
is
critically acclaimed, yeah.
pretty critically acclaimed, and that's terrible. Then finally, Mina Veneer, who is had never really heard of her out of the group, but she's a communication specialist at Black Forest Games. Brought up that a couple of years ago, resurrected the point that she had made a couple of years ago, where she had been harassed by Vlad Miku, a game industry development consultant. So today has been terrible.
Sounds like it.
And that's not even getting into the pro Jared discussion, which we are never going to talk about.
Nope.
Because this is just bad enough. So I have a lot of thoughts.
As you do.
Most notable of them being what the fuck.
Right?
Like here's my thing. And another friend of mine that I follow on Twitter basically posted the same thing on an alt account that they have, because their larger account is of a higher overall volume notability wise, and there's no way you could have said this without people being shitty about it. But I agree with this, which is I don't personally care for Zoe Quinn as a person. Like, completely unrelated to any of the things that have happened to her. I absolutely believe her in this situation. I don't think that this is reasonable for anybody to go through, regardless of my opinion of it. But I want it to be understood. I don't care about her. I don't care for her as a personality in gaming, as a person, whatever. But I absolutely, I read this, and no, I absolutely believe her when she says that this happened. And the fact that numerous other people have come forward after the fact to be like, yeah, this guy's an awful fucking piece of shit, is like, huh. It's okay. I believe that this is the case 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating to me that, we could be in a situation where, how can I put this? I don't really see a lot of benefit in making these kind of complaints, these kind of claims about somebody, especially if they're, easily dismissible, easily fightable, easily, proven incorrect in any capacity. And I don't see the benefit in being thrown around by the internet hate machine such that you would want to do this.
Right.
I cannot think of a single case where I personally would be like, you know what, I dislike a person enough that I would be willing to deal with the harassment that would come with accusing them of this. Now, I can't say that there aren't people who would do that. I just think it's incredibly fucking unlikely.
Right.
And in the cases of the other two people, Nathalie and Mina, where this is their first rodeo in this situation. I can't understand why they would subject themselves to this unless they legitimately believed that this was the case. If you are a person who is shouting into the void about having been done wrong on some level by a person in a position of power, and you are doing it from behind an anonymous username on the internet, I can sort of understand why, you might at least consider that as, maybe questionable. But no, these people have their actual fucking names attached to this shit. We know who they are. We know where they work. This is absolutely going to be a thing where actual human beings have attached actual names and faces to complaints. Excuse me. I cannot conceive how much bullshit they are going to take for this. And I don't think they were ready for it, which is unfortunate. Nobody should have to be. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to be terrible. But Zoe Quinn has been dealing with this for 5 fucking years now. This is a fucking cacophony of shit that is the wind tunnel of her life.
Oh yeah.
It is not getting any better for her. So I cannot conceive of why she would do this to make things worse, because it's going to be worse for her. And again, I don't have any opinion of her outside of that. I'm not somebody who is a fan of hers. I don't hate her. I just don't care about her as a content creator. I don't care about her as a person in the industry. But what she has been through objectively fucking sucks. No human being should have to go through it. And the fact that she continues to go through it and people continue to be like, well, maybe she's lying about this. Why? What possible benefit could she get from fucking lying about this shit? This is not making her rich. Being notable on the internet does not pay your fucking bills.
Nope.
You know, and she is not making like Jim Sterling money, which you know, if she was making like $20,000-$30,000 a month from the kindness of strangers doing this kind of stuff, like maybe I could kind of sort of see people saying, well, this or whatever. But like this is absolutely not like the whatever small amount of money she has received from Patreon for her time in her life doing this stuff absolutely does not justify the massive amount of bullshit that she has been going through.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, she's uninsured, so she has to pay for her own insurance. She, you know, she doesn't have any type of what's the word I'm looking for here. Like she has no workman's comp to guarantee her situation. She has no real security in this situation. It's I can't conceive of bullshitting for the piddling amount of money that is coming from this. I have to believe that this is 100% on the level, and you know, God fucking bless her for being willing to come out and say shit like this. But also, Jesus fucking Christ, just I cannot begin to imagine how fucking miserable her life is at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like where we're at with a lot of this stuff is just like a lot of people are like, oh, more people coming out of the woodwork. That's not woodwork. These people have been living this life and they're trying to do what they can that they feel is the right thing to do now that they actually feel safe enough to do it, to out these people, to put this in the public, you know, idea of like this is not okay. This is not something that should be or could ever be acceptable. And like if this is all happening because this is how you keep your job, even though you're basically being overworked and are in the ER multiple times because of said job and because of how everything happens, then like, yeah, you have every right to the justice that you're deserved, because sometimes this kind of stuff needs to be shown that like I'm not the only person that's had this happen to them. I am not the only person who has been traumatized and basically like injured and possibly put in, you know, health risk because of XYZ. Like this kind of stuff is ludicrous. It's not the same when it really comes down to it to some of the other more notable problems that we've seen this year that have stemmed from this sort of treatment. You know, obviously, Jared is a thing. Obviously, Vic Mignogna is a thing. Obviously, this is not, you know, it's more than just gaming too. Like, you know, people outing people in Hollywood, people outing people in the Silicon Valley, people outing people in just a general position of power across the board has been more and frequently been added to just a general public outcry. There are a lot of different problems that a lot of people have finally decided, hey, you know what? I'm tired of living in fear. I'm tired of living in a constant state of unknowing as to whether or not whatever this thing that I, you know, hold dear and near to myself is going to be threatened because of you. I don't want to deal with that anymore. So the fact that these people are coming out like they are, it's not that they're coming out of the woodwork, it's that they're finally strong enough to be able to say, hey, look, this is the problem. Here's what ended up happening. Here's everything. Here's proof. And then kind of going from there. Like, the fact that, you know, Natalie has all of these different emails proving everything that happened and showing all of this information is like, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, that website goes on for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just like a 2 or 3, you know, email deal. Like this is years worth of stuff, and it's crazy how much there is.
Yeah, I wanna see the motherfucker who is like, oh well, the Zoe post is completely reasonable, but that thing is bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
like I want that guy to fall down some stairs. And let me be clear, it's gonna be a guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
Because it always is.
Always. I don't know. I just feel like controversy is inevitable when it's somebody who is a victim and has enough proof for it to be substantial versus the one or two naysayers that blow up, get 15 minutes of fame, and have zero anything only to get like fact checked months later when it's no longer relevant. I don't know. It's silly and it shouldn't have to be a thing, but it is. So I don't know why dudes just can't keep their dicks in their pants, man.
Assholes everywhere.
I mean, that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, like the one thing that's great though is I enjoy going through the comments here of all of this stuff and just finding all of the assholes so that it's just more people that I can block on Twitter.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like one dude responded to Zoe Kun with the only thing Alec is guilty of is getting within a 30-foot radius of you, and I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
really? That's what you're going with? All right.
yeah, you and your 37 followers can eat my entire ass.
Jesus,
Green Bullet Gaming. I have no problem shaming a motherfucker for being a piece of shit in somebody's fucking comments.
By all means.
They run a YouTube channel that I'm absolutely never going to fucking go to, by the way.
Oh, good. Let me guess. Call of Duty?
I literally didn't even look.
Oh, fair.
It says, yeah, Green Bullet Productions, formerly Funhouse, is a small
Oh.
YouTube channel containing games and roller coaster media,
Huh.
which is an incredibly specific niche. But
Yeah.
all right, more
Yeah,
power
that's-
to you.
That's very specific. I don't
Oh,
know
I just
how
went to
feel.
Twitter and Roy Moore is trending. Who the fuck did he rape now?
Wow. Hey, you know what's really not actually as awful as it probably could be is raping our wallets, because what the hell is going on with the rest of this year?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Jan, because everybody strap in and get ready to weep, because you might as well just get your wallet and just dump everything out of it right now. Credit cards, cash, pennies, whatever the fuck you have. Because, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, the summer season was not a slow one. Generally it is, for the most part, where you have, not as many big hits or mostly small indie darlings that just creep out of the woodwork during the summer season. Let's just review what we had this summer, starting with, June. Let's see. We had, of course, a bunch of digital games come out and a bunch of other amazing games come out, like Blaster Master Zero. Bloodstained was one of the first big games to come out. The new Devil May Cry came out on the Switch. Yakuza 5. Octopath Traveler came out on PC. Legends of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 2 for the PS4 came out. Moving into September. Well, we had Shadowbringers, I'm sorry. God Eater 3. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Tetris
Well,
Effect.
God Eater 3 did that come out this year? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Dragon Quest Builders 2.
It's been a long fucking year.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
It came out in
the one
February.
game you were interested in just hit on the Nintendo Switch, Mark. Mutant Year Zero.
I have that on PC already, though.
Yeah. But like some of these are like ports.
If you don't have it, though, I strongly recommend it. It's really fucking good.
Yeah. Dr. Mario World came out for, handheld devices. A small indie game by the name of Blazing Chrome came out. So if you love Contra and you love, all things that are run and gun, you have to check that game out. We had, Metal Wolf Chaos coming out digitally. We had Pillars of Eternity, a complete edition, coming out for the Switch. The Switch is getting a lot of ports of like PC games and previously released digital only games for the other two consoles. But still, I mean, these are a lot of games. We have the game that people describe as Dark Souls with guns, although I don't really buy that tagline, which is a Remnant from the Ashes.
Right.
Yeah, I want to get that at some point. That was.
I am
really
actually
cool.
very interested in that.
Mm-hmm. We have Astral Chain coming out at the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I was looking at. I mean, we had a lot of great games coming out just in in the summertime, and coming into September. I mean, we're starting off strong. We got Monster Hunter World Iceborne coming out to start us off strong. Then we got we got Daemon Ex Machina. We got a whole shitload of games coming out just for the Switch in September. I mean, you got ports of Ni no Kuni, Baldur's Gate, Contra Rogue Core, Icewind Dale. The Mario Kart Tour is coming out on handhelds and mobile devices.
I'm sorry. Did you just say Contra Rogue Core is a thing that we're looking forward to?
I didn't say it was something we're looking forward to. I was just mentioning games that are being ported to the Switch.
That's gonna be on every
I know, it's gonna be
platform, and it's going to be the goddamn worst.
And of course, there's the two games at the end of the month of September that I think are the highlights. One is Ys 9, but I think that's in Japan only. And then you got Code Vein to pretty much round up the month of September. Anything else that I might have missed that you might be interested in for the month of September, Jan?
For September, I mean, outside of Iceborne, Code Vein, I thought there was a third one. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Gears of War 5, but I mean,
Gears 5 is Gears 5. Like, if you're gonna play it, you're gonna play it.
And Borderlands 3, by the way. I mean, I might have overlooked that one, but
maybe, I don't know. I like Borderlands for what it is. The story was relatively decent for what I like.
I mean, I enjoyed Borderlands 2 a lot more than I did the first one.
Oh, for sure.
Do I want to install Epic Mega Game Store? No.
I mean, soon enough that won't be a problem, but
yeah, 6 months time.
No.
Did they lower the amount of exclusivity time?
No. I'll explain it later. GOG is doing a thing. Anyway.
GOG always does a thing.
Oh, you'll see. Outside of what, honestly, I don't know. For me personally, it's not so much about what happened in the summer so much as what happened at the beginning of the year and what's happening at the end of the year. So, all of the games that I wanted came out either in January, February, March, or are coming out in September, October, November. So it's ridiculous, just the amount of kind of content that's coming out at the beginning and the end of the year, which we expect. While the summer season actually was relatively decent for what it had, it was a lot better than it has been in previous years. Just looking at the beginning of the year, I mean, Resident Evil 2 remake, Kingdom Hearts 3, Ace Combat 7.
You had the big hit games coming out in that that winter season.
Right, exactly. But then you move into March and the spring. You got Sekiro. April was Mortal Kombat 11. Let's see here. Everything, I don't know. I feel like for me, what came out in the summer ended up being just a bunch of rehash. Outside of maybe Fire Emblem 3 Houses, everything was basically a port or a rehash or is something that we expected it. They're big games. Please don't get me wrong. They are. It's just, Judgment. That was the one that was really big that came out in June that I'm actually still really interested in getting. While it may not be full on, it's as good as Yakuza. From what I've heard a lot from people, it's just there's. It's just that was kind of what got the ball rolling. June and July got the ball rolling. With Astral Chain, Gears 5, Iceborne, Borderlands, Destiny 2 Shadowkeep comes out on October 1st. Outer Worlds comes out on the 25th. Jedi Fallen Order comes out on November 15th. Sword and Shield comes out on the 15th. Shenmue 3 comes out on the 19th. Doom Eternal is the 22nd.
Yeah, like just that month of November alone is like absolute
November
murder.
is-
The end
November
of
is
October
murder.
seeping into all of November is just absolute murder.
Yep. Like, there's a lot that's going to be coming out towards the end of this year, too, that it's like everything is just kind of culminating in, well, I guess I don't have money because I'm buying a lot. You know, like, I'm personally, I'm probably going to end up getting Iceborne and Code Vein, just like back to back, because like those are the two games that are going to hold a lot of my time over the next, I don't know, 6 months to a year, at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure. Like, I mean, you know, I've got, what, 650 collective hours across PS4 and PC for Monster Hunter World as a baseline. Like, it may not be as much as many people, but I can still hold my own against pretty much any of the monsters right now. I'm probably going to spend just about as much time on probably both PS4 and PC again for Iceborne, just because, like, Iceborne is 3 times the size of what World is. Like, just based on all of the monsters that got released and revealed.
Zinurger's coming.
So much characters. Like, have they officially announced Zinogre?
No, they've there's leaks out about the musical score that leads to
None of it's found
Zinogre.
in. None of it's found in. Everyone's saying, ooh, it's Zinogre, but then, like, the last reveal, like, everyone thought would be Zinogre ended up being this new Abyss monster that's a brand new monster to the series.
And
is
then the next
most
trailer
likely the
over, oh,
secondary
hey,
flagship.
look, it's Yin Garuga.
I mean, look, my idiot sons have to get back into the game at some point, so it's fine. But, like, I don't know.
Of all the things that they could put into the game, do you think they're going to put in Kutku?
Kutku? No. But they put in Garuga, so...
I mean, Yin Garuga is just a pain in the ass to begin with in Generations and
Fair,
4.
but we don't really need Kutku because we have Jagras. So...
I mean, yes. Kutku would get dorked over in that particular environment in any case. Way too much shit for him to crash into.
I would rather they
Oh,
bring
yeah,
back
for sure.
Korpeka, just
Or
you know,
trip
just
over.
for the random Devil Joe appearance when he summons another monster.
Besides, we already have adorable dumb bird anyway, so... Because, you know, we've got Pebble Boy. It's like, whatever.
Shiny
This is
rocks.
my egg. That is
Shiny-
not an egg, motherfucker.
Shiny rock.
This is my egg. That is not an egg.
Oh, I broke my egg. Well, now you're dead. That's your own fault.
I don't know. For me
Sure,
personally,
just put it
like September, I think is going to be the big month for me. I'm sure there's stuff coming out in November and December,
Mm-hmm.
but outside of like September and the beginning of October, I haven't seen anything that's like, yeah, I got to have this.
Sure.
Well,
Like,
for me, I mean, I already got a couple games that are coming my way regardless. Like, I've got a copy of Indivisible coming my way. I got Shenmue 3 coming my way.
Forgot about Indivisible. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Indivisible.
Yeah, Indivisible is this, you know, the guys who made Skullgirls? Well, they finally
Yeah,
announced
Skull Girls.
last month a release date for the game, which has been in development for like 5 years. And it's coming out in October.
It's their
Love Letter to
letter
Valkyrie
to
Profile.
Valkyrie Profile.
Oh, that fucking game.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was actually coming out. Oh, I'll have to fucking pre-order that shit. Jesus.
Yeah, for sure. Right?
Yep. But, I mean,
I played the demo of that like forever ago when they released it, and I was like, yeah, I'll
Really
play
good.
this.
It was really good.
it was. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I loved getting the emails every now and then about like the new characters. Like, I think there was a grand total of at least like 30 to 40 characters that could possibly be in your party.
Yep.
And I just find that fascinating. For me, in the month of October, I am definitely going to be getting the new Atelier Ryza game. I have that pre-ordered.
Fair.
I just read up yesterday. An article came up about the battle system, and they're changing it around a bit, so it's not completely turn-based. You practically control one character. I think it's active time battle, and the other characters can perform their own actions, but you can switch back and forth whenever and give commands and whatnot. So it could be interesting. It could take the franchise in a less cutesy way. And I mean, I love the Atelier series, but ever since I was spoiled by Maruru, each game after that has been less and less interesting, with the exception of maybe Sophie. But
I know you used actual words there, but I have no idea what any of that meant.
I think they're characters from the game.
yeah,
okay.
each
Thank you.
character from the game is pretty much the title of the game, like Atelier Sophie, Atelier Maruru, Atelier Aisha. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. I mean, I'm also looking forward to maybe getting Ghostbusters, the video game, remastered. I really enjoyed it on the PC. I wouldn't mind getting an HD remaster of that. And, of course, there's the remaster of Medieval. I never had a chance to play it or own it growing up, but...
Is it a remaster or is it a remake?
Well,
Like, I thought it was like a full-on remake.
it's a full-on remake, kind of like what they did with the Crash Bandicoot trilogy and Spyro
That's just a
trilogy.
remaster. Yeah, that's just a remaster. That's not an
No, they
actual
had to remake the whole game because... I mean, yeah, there's no way you I mean...
They updated the game engine, but kept the mechanics functionally
Okay,
identical.
that makes more
is what
sense.
they're
Yeah.
saying.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Now, of course, anybody getting Death Stranding in November?
God, I'm so torn.
I mean, don't you need your P mechanics in your life?
I don't need pea mushrooms. God.
I only know about the meme, so I don't know what that P mechanic thing is about. And I don't think
You
I want to
literally
find out.
he pees. He pees and things
he
happen.
Literally woke up from a nap, stood up. There was a little milliliter window, and then he stood up and peed, and it emptied the stupid meter next to his character. And then the next thing you know, he's standing in front of a mushroom. It was the stupidest thing, but it's like, okay, whatever. And then it was a nice lead into the fact that Jeff Keighley's in the game as a cameo. Not actual Jeff Keighley, because it's voiced by Matt Mercer, but it's, Jeff Keighley as a character that they 3D modeled into Death Stranding.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't understand why they wouldn't have just gotten Jeff Keighley to show up and do his own voice.
Yeah,
like,
I'm actually shocked because Jeff
motherfucking,
Keighley,
you're telling me Dorito Pope would not show up and voice his own character? Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, Kojima's like...
He would pay his own fucking airfare to be
Are
a
you
video
kidding
game
me?
character.
Like, Kojima and him are like good buds, so I am shocked that he's not voicing his own character.
Oh, like you missed it, but during the Gamescom opening ceremony thing that he hosted, like they had a hype video for Kojima. Like it was like a highlight reel of Kojima leading into him coming on stage to talk about Death Stranding. Like
Yeah,
everyone was like,
find you somebody who loves you as much as Jeff Keighley loves Hideo Kojima.
Like everyone was posting like Jeff Keighley memes about like, when's Jeff Keighley going to propose to Hideo Kojima? Like it's finally happening at Gamescom. It's gonna happen. It's like God, it's awful.
Alright, so also in November, Pokemon Sword and Shield finally come out. The new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order comes out. And I would say in November, I mean, even though I'm getting Shenmue 3, I would have to say it's going to be a month of Pokemon and Doom for me. And,
I mean, Doom Eternal
and
makes a lot of
MechWarrior
sense.
5 in December. I think that's how I'm going to end my year, is MechWarrior 5.
I want to play that game so bad.
But...
I hate giving money to Epic, man. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I mean, as long as I don't have to get the Epic Game Store to play that game, but something tells me I will.
No. So, and this is so...
Is it going to be
So this
separate
is-
like the MechWarrior Online?
No. So here's the deal. So GOG has created a beta for a tool that is basically a multi-launcher. So if you remember many, many moons ago, there was a program called Trillion.
Yes,
And it was
never
an instant
used it.
messaging program that allowed you to log into multiple different instant messaging programs in one place. So you could have AIM and ICQ and Messenger and all that crazy stuff all in one UI.
Back when people actually had more than one messaging program and we weren't all on just Discord or Hangouts all the time.
Right, exactly. Well,
Yeah.
so GOG is actually working on a beta that is currently going to do basically the exact same thing, but for launchers. And we'll have the ability for you to log into Origin, Steam, Epic, and GOG all from one tool to launch all of the games from those platforms.
What about Bethesda and BattleNet?
Bethesda isn't confirmed. BattleNet has always been standalone because they've never given out the API. And the only other one that I can think of that would actually... Oh, right, they actually did confirm Uplay.
Oh, whoop-de-doo.
It's big for the people that actually play the 3 Ubisoft games that actually have a player base, like Siege. So
There are more
whatever.
games on Uplay than there are on fucking BattleNet. Jesus Christ.
I mean, fair. But as we already know, Activision, just isn't gonna give up the API for Battle.net. They're just not gonna do it. They already have said that that's not gonna be a thing. It's why Bungie is leaving the Battle.net launcher and going to Steam for Shadowkeep. They're not with Activision. They don't need to be with Activision. They don't need to keep the game on Activision's launcher. They're going to a launcher that makes sense, which is Steam. So it is what it is. The only other one that isn't announced, and I think it's because it's still kind of in beta and they haven't really gotten a chance to do anything with it yet, is Windows Live. But
yeah, we'll see. I don't know if Microsoft is willing to go along with it, but then again, they've surprised me many times before.
With as big as they've been about shaming the Epic Store and a baseline with nothing but shade, I would absolutely see that they would be a thing on that platform. It would make absolute sense to have the ability to log into your Microsoft Games Pass through the GOG launcher. It makes absolutely perfect sense to me. And the only reason I say that is because, there are so many games that are already cross-platform already in terms of PC launchers that having access to the Windows Store just makes sense. To not have that would be just goofy, It wouldn't make any sense. But it is what it is. I feel like having something like that means that A, I don't have to worry about loading into the actual Epic GUI. B, I don't have to actually worry about whether or not the Epic storefront is actually trying to actively scan or be the malware that it actually is. And I can still log in and actually play the 1 or 2 games that I want to play without actually having to buy the game directly through Epic.
Okay. Well, to end the year, what do you guys think you're going to be getting? I mean, we're all going to be broke. I mean, we might as well ruin our Christmas shopping. So, Mark, how broke are you going to be at the end of the year?
Probably not. Well, not any more broke than I would have been otherwise. I have a few games, but again, past October, I don't really think I have anything. I'm thinking about Man of Medan because I don't know that I necessarily want to own it, but I did like Until Dawn, and supporting the people who are involved in making that as they do something else is kind of yeah, I would do that. Plus, the multiplayer aspects of it are neat. I'm still kind of looking at Catherine, even though I did not like the mechanics of the original game.
Fair.
I'm waiting until we get more of a confirmation of what the narrative is before I jump into it, because there's been a lot of stuff that has come up in conversation about it that is still kind of it feels questionable to me, narratively speaking.
Sure.
And Atlas does not have the best track record when it comes to writing storylines featuring LGBTQ content. So the idea of them having a game where that's going to be more of a forefront concern, in 2011, it was kind of you're doing a thing nobody else is really doing, and in 2019, it's God, just don't fuck this up. So I'm waiting on that. But for me, right now, and Code Vein definitely already got it pre-ordered. Definitely already got it pre-ordered. Hamish went to Gamescom this year, and he described it as of what he played of it. He described it as Dark Souls but shit. So I asked him, "Do you mean mechanically or aesthetically?" And he didn't answer me. Which says to me because like other people, because I said in the conversation, I was like, because other people had said, you know, and I was like, well, like if he means mechanically, that sucks and it's unfortunate. But if he means aesthetically, yeah, I knew he was going to hate the fucking aesthetics of this, like in the moment that it was announced. Like,
Oh yeah,
dude
it's too
doesn't like
anime for him.
999. I was pretty sure he was not going to like this.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like, I still don't have an answer to the question of is this game going to be good or not? And the one person that I know personally whose opinion on most things I respect has not been able to give me an answer as to whether or not it's any good. So it's like, fuck.
Makes
He was
sense.
paid
I'm
out,
just,
Mark. He was
I'm
bought
just
out.
no.
willing to. I'm just willing to hope that you know the God Eater devs have hit a fucking home run with this mechanically. But we'll see. There's a demo coming, so
I mean,
hopefully by then we'll know.
I played the PS4 beta, like the pre, like you had to be like picked to get codes
Yeah, I didn't get picked
for.
for that.
So I played that for the whole weekend, and what I did get a chance to play, it felt not clunky, but it felt like timing made sense. Like you had to time different types of outfits that you like. Your different armors have different counter abilities. So one's a claw, one's a tail, one are like dog heads, like Cerberus heads.
Okay.
Each one of them have different timings for you to actually be able to use those as counter attacks for like big swings or like it's like basically it's a parry mechanic from like the Dark Souls and the Bloodborne game, where having the parry mechanic makes sense, but it's different timing based on the type of armor that you're wearing. So the different type of ability that you use has different timing for when you actually need to start the ability to actually counter correctly or to
Okay.
parry correctly. So mechanically it felt sound. Like I felt like it made sense. And if I didn't start it early enough, I felt like I would be properly punished for not starting my counter when I knew I needed to. It's not like tight one frame links in a fighting game, you know, necessarily, but it's definitely a tight enough balance between when it needs to go off and when you actually see the swing animation begin from your enemy for you to actually learn the timing fairly easily.
Right.
So
It sounds like a Souls-esque game, which is
yes,
what I would want from that.
absolutely.
The only other game in September where I'm like about it is the Surge 2, because I generally don't like that developer. Like they're not bad, but they're not great. And the first Surge was
At best, yeah.
yeah,
It's
but
okay, as you would
they've
put it.
Deck 13 has had a couple of years to iron shit out, and a couple of people from what I have seen have played parts of it and felt like the Surge 2 was an improvement. Plus,
Good.
again, like it's been, you know, Lords of the Fallen was one of the worst goddamn things I've ever seen in my life. The Surge was mediocre. If you can go from the worst goddamn thing ever to mediocre in like 3 years, they might actually be able to turn out a good game on this one, since they've been doing apparently nothing but developing this for the past 2 years.
Right.
So I remain hopeful, but not hopeful enough that I will be disappointed if it sucks.
Fair. Makes sense.
The only other games that I definitely have on my I want to play this at some point listing is Moons of Madness and Paranoia Happiness is Mandatory.
Yeah.
Moons
Well,
of
'cause-
Madness, it
what, Moon
looks
Cthulhu?
fucking rad as shit. It's, yeah, Moon Cthulhu. It looks fucking
Yeah.
rad as shit. Like, just absolutely fucking horrifying. And, you know, I've gotten tired of zombie stuff, but I'm absolutely not tired of Cthulhu-esque horror craziness, because I will never be tired of that, because
Right.
not very many people do it well. And
Mhm.
this game looks like it absolutely might. I'm fucking hoping to God that it will, because it just looks so fucking rad. I want it to be good. Paranoia
Sure.
Happiness is Mandatory. I was really, really fucking ramped up for on PC. And then yesterday they announced it's going to be on the Epic Store, so I'm hoping it's coming out on
Fuck.
PS4.
Nah.
God damn it. So no, like, so the Paranoia Habit is mandatory. That's basically like the old pen and paper Paranoia, right?
Yes.
Oh my god! See, like, had I realized that that was an action, like that's what that was. Okay, so now I'm even more upset about the fact that it's on Epic Store. Fuck. All right, yeah, no, it needs to come on a PS4.
They have a trailer for it for PS4, so
Okay, then
I
yeah,
just don't know when it's coming exactly. If it's going to be at the same time as the PC version.
Fair.
But yeah,
Yeah, no.
like I,
Makes sense.
it's just very frustrating to me, like the way that the thing is going with the Epic Store. Not that they have all of these exclusives that they have, but that like they're waiting for the games to get hype and then they're signing them up. Like this game has been on my fucking Steam wish list for like 3 months now. I saw the first fucking trailer for it back in like May or June, and I've just been waiting. I've been waiting. Like the first trailer came out for it back in April. I saw it around like May or June, and I've just been waiting for it to fucking come out. And they announced yesterday that a game is coming out in October is going to be exclusively to their platform. It's like, come on, guys, really? Can we not?
That's pretty dirty. That's pretty dirty.
Yeah, at this point, I have my own issues with Epic, which I haven't gotten any more notifications that my password has been breached. So I'm still waiting. If I don't see any more, hooray. If I do, like that's the point where I'm straight up just fucking deactivating my account and deleting it. But I haven't bought anything from them because I don't have any trust that they're not allowing people to breach their shit.
I mean, for what it's worth, like I paid in for like part of the founders profiles for Dauntless, and is the main reason why I still have yet to actually play Dauntless as it's gone live is purely because the only version that I have access to is the PC version, and it's only on Epic Store. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm upset I lost that money because it went to Epic. There are obviously, like, that aside, there are still problems that need to be addressed in terms of how people react to Epic Store. Some people are so vehemently against it that they are, like, death threatening the, smaller indie devs. Like, there was I think it was like a couple that was making a specific game that was exclusive on Epic. And the only reason it was on Epic was because Epic was giving them a ton of development tools in Unreal that they otherwise would not have been able to get because they couldn't afford it. And Unreal was basically like the one main thing they wanted to put it on, and Epic said, okay, gave them the tools at low to no cost. They moved the game to be exclusively on Epic Store, and a bunch of people lost their collective shit on this guy in his Discord. So much so that like he just he got to the point where he was trying to troll the people in his Discord back, and it super backfired, like super hard backfired on him. I don't remember the actual game off the top of my head, but like I was reading some articles about it about a month or so ago, and it was just ludicrous. But there are that many people out there that are so diehard anti-Epic Game Store that they would be willing to put themselves into a position where that's the kind of shit that they do on a daily basis. And it's like, you motherfuckers need to get a life. Because damn, there's no reason that you have to put that kind of nonsense out in the public eye for people to fucking see. You just don't.
Well, let's roll back on over to the list of games that we are. I know people want to really, hammer it out about the Epic Game Store, but like, we could do that next episode. So let's continue on talking about the games that we.
Yeah, outside of October, I think the only thing that I really have on my list is Doom Eternal, and even then, that's kind of a maybe.
Yeah.
I just don't have anything beyond that,
Yeah.
So you're not looking forward to Link's Awakening or nothing else, really? Yeah. I mean, I know I'm looking forward to Link's Awakening. I actually kind of forgot about that one.
I'm glad Link's Awakening is coming out. I know Crystal was a huge fucking fan of that game, and I know that there are other people who love it too.
Yeah, I think me and Crystal are at the same level of hype for that.
Yeah, so I'm just not a Zelda person necessarily. I'm glad it's coming out. I'm glad that people that game in specific is coming out, because I know a lot of people who love that game as one of their favorites in the franchise. I'm just not a Zelda person.
Now, you said after October you're not interested in anything else. I thought you were very interested in Doom Eternal, because I believe you were really enjoyed Doom 2016. I thought, outside of me,
Doom 2016 washed over me. I played it, I enjoyed it at the time, and then I forgot about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've had that discussion. We had
Yeah,
that discussion during the anniversary.
I'm kind of with the idea of Doom Eternal. I'm sure it's going to be fine. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy what I play of it, but I'm also sure it's not going to stick with me beyond the period of time I play it. And I'm kind of iffy with Bethesda right now, just because the last couple of games that they've released have been questionable.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm sure that Doom Eternal will be good, but I'm just kind of wondering,
How's
is this going to continue the trend of Bethesda releasing stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Bethesda fucking ids work?
I don't even know if necessarily fucking id's work. Like, I don't
Yeah, I
know
don't.
if it's like just id.
Mm-hmm.
Though Rage definitely, like Rage 2 was definitely a case of,
It being dumb.
yeah, I don't think that was a case of Bethesda being stupid necessarily so much as it was. I just don't think Rage is salvageable as a brand at this point.
I don't know that Rage was ever salvageable as a brand after the first one. Jeez.
I didn't hate the first one. I
It
know
had
I'm one of
its
the few
issues,
people,
but
but I
I
didn't
still
hate the first
enjoyed
one.
it. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, I'm actually shocked by the fact that there was only, outside of some of the major franchises, I mean, all we're getting is Call of Duty Modern Warfare remake. I mean,
Look,
nothing,
all I know
no
is that
major
like
games from Activision, which is kind of crazy.
all I know is that I have a bunch of people on my friends list who are just salivating for Modern Warfare. Like everybody has just been going googly eyed over the remake.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, everybody I know would sooner go for Modern Warfare 2, but
I
yeah.
mean, fair,
I mean,
but
Modern Warfare 2 is
but
the.
Captain Price.
I mean, Modern Warfare 2 is the second Call of Duty game I've ever beaten. So, in terms of single player, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're all going to go broke at the end of the year. Yay! I think there's
Pretty
really
much.
not much more we can go into in terms of this conversation. I mean, we listed a bunch of games that we want. We looked at the list of games that we got. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who will be excited for Switch ports of Resident Evil 5 and 6. And, more just...
I'm just glad that they're doing it. Honestly, I'm glad that Resident Evil is still a popular franchise and can be on all systems.
I mean, let's be honest. If Resident Evil
series to be that way,
I mean, let's be honest. If it wasn't for Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2, I don't think the franchise as a whole would be surviving anymore.
no, with the resurgence of Resident Evil being as good as it could be with the release of 7, and then the 2 remake being absolutely phenomenal, I'm pretty sure that we wouldn't be having a conversation about Resident Evil 3 remake, and I don't know that we would even be worried about Resident Evil remake or like being ported to the Switch at all. Like, I feel like 7 revitalized the series to a point that was sorely missed in just the survival horror genre in general. I mean, were we just going to leave it to Silent Hill? I don't think so.
We haven't had a Silent Hill game in, what, about 2 years, 3 years? And I think the one
More
before
than
that
that,
was
hasn't it?
canceled.
It's like 6, maybe?
yeah, because like Silent Hills,
Like
didn't
PT
even
Silent
come
Hills
out.
was Silent Hills PT was like supposed to be the resurgence, and then Konami basically said
yeah, Book of Memories was the last game to come out. It was 2012.
yeah.
And then there was supposedly that Del Toro version of Resident Evil that was coming out, but that got canned like right away after the demo came out.
That's literally what we were just talking about.
Oh, was it the
Yeah,
same game?
PT.
Silent Hills,
PT.
yes.
Silent Hills.
No.
PT, which was short for playable trailer, which was the original PT demo for Silent Hills, which was
Never heard that
supposed to
term
be
for trailers, but okay, sure. Well, with that, though, I guess we can end the night. So let's just remind everybody what we got going on this week. For me, yeah, I'll be streaming tomorrow, but in a couple of weeks I will be moving my Wednesday streams to another night. I haven't decided when, though. I continue to stream Monster Hunter on Monster Hunter Mondays. Tuesday is still GVN Live, and after the 10th of September, it will go back to its bi-weekly format. Just so you people can stay sane. After that, I don't really have much else other than the fact that I still have to work on this video review of It Came from the Desert, which is a classic Amiga game that has now been adapted into a movie, which is kind of funny because It Came from the Desert is kind of like a love letter to 1950s creature features. It's most notably like the movies like Them and Colony of the Ants and stuff like that.
Stuff I'm not super interested in.
What's that?
I said stuff I'm not super
What,
interested
1950s Hollywood? Sci-fi?
in. No.
The atomic age of monster movies. No? No?
To each their own, Robert.
I know. I mean, I'm a Godzilla fan. I mean,
If I'm
not
gonna,
everyone
if
likes
I'm gonna
Godzilla.
like, oh man, Godzilla's great. Like, I don't have a problem with kaiju at all. It's like the older 50s. Like, it's all so humorous to me at this point that I just can't take any of it seriously enough to actually enjoy any of them, like completely. Like, I don't care.
All right.
I mean, if I'm gonna watch those movies, I'll just go back and watch them via MST3K. Like, just no reason not to.
And with that yawn, it means it's getting late. So, Mark, what have you got going on this weekend for your streams?
I'm going to be streaming more Alpha Protocol on Friday. Don't know what I'm going to be streaming on Saturday. We'll figure that out when the time comes.
Okay. And for you, Jan, what you got going on for future stream plans, or are you still up in the air?
This week, I'm probably going to be doing something probably Tekken related on Wednesday, and I'm pretty positive that I'm going to be doing Monster Hunter Iceborne for at least 1 or 2 of the days on the weekend.
Okay.
So that's pretty much what I have planned.
All right, well, there you go. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I hope you had a fun time watching us, with our... I'm getting tired. All right,
Head in the clouds. Head in the clouds.
It is.
Too much
my head's
money
are in the
being
clouds.
spent. Your head's in the cloud.
Hi, kitty.
What you doing, Bubba's?
He says it's time to go.
It's window time.
Yeah. And I hear him knocking stuff over, of course. And with that,
Yep.
everybody, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Have yourself a good night.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone.